This is how organized we are. Good evening. So I'll be quick, if you don't mind me saying so. I'm not feeling well, so I was late tonight. It didn't matter because my team ran everything. So thank you, Jamber, for running all of this, and thank you, Tom, for organizing this. But I had to be here because many of the people speaking tonight are friends of mine or have been supporting Jamber from day one. From Dave Pomeroy, who early on was teaching me about the importance of the rights of musicians as collaborators and contributors, really important parts of the song, to John, who we just heard from, to Chris McMurtry from Dart, my sister company, and my friend, going through project music together. Along that list, though, is our next speaker, Erin Crawford. So Erin Crawford is Senior Vice President of Music for Nielsen. Erin literally travels the world looking for ways that the data of music can help celebrate music and, more importantly, its creators. She is not only deep in metadata, but she's also a huge fan. And I know that because if you are a musician who she likes, she will find a way to get a selfie with you, I promise. She has a collection of selfies throughout. She still gets giddy around Reba McEntire. And she's also become a friend of mine. Just this week, I'm happy to announce that Nielsen and Jamber have partnered in a data alliance, and we've got some really cool things coming out for years to come, hopefully, in ways that we're going to celebrate musicians, rights holders, and songwriters together. And it's a powerful thing when a company the size of Nielsen wraps their arms around a startup like Jamber to lift us up and make us a part of their ecosystem. So to that end, please give my friend and amazing supporter a huge round of applause, Erin Crawford.
Wow, I'm so happy to be here and tell you a little bit about myself, because I am also new to Nashville, like Emmanuel was, and I love what we're doing in the industry, and I just want to tell you all about it. But a little bit about me first. So, my career, since I was 6 years old, I wanted to be a doctor, a psychiatrist to be exact, and that is exactly what brought me here today. A psychiatrist wants to know, what people do, why they think, they want to understand all of them, and then give them medication to fix it all, right? Well, I want to understand what people do, why they do it, and give them data to fix it. So it's exactly that. So the formatting is terrible on this, but so in a sophomore in college, I took the MCATs. That's the test you take going into medical school. The MCATs themselves, I took into sophomore because I wanted to practice, and I failed, like miserably. Organic chemistry I ended up dropping out of it, all wrong, so I had to take another path. So I went to do a psych degree. Same thing, understand why people do what they do without the medication part. And I thought that was great. I moved to LA. I volunteered at a residential psychiatric treatment center, again, helping people, and I applied to graduate schools, and I didn't get into any in LA. And once you've been to LA, it's hard to move on from LA. So I had to redirect again. So at that point, I had a little bit of a crisis. What do I do? What do I love? Well, I have this biopsych degree now, and I like entertainment. At the time, it was really movies in particular. So how can I marry it all? So I looked for jobs. I applied to market research jobs in all kinds of different industries. I could have been in mortgages right now, or risk management. How exciting. But I ended up finding music. And it took a while to get there. I was at film for 12 years. I was at Activision in the video game space, and for the last 4 years in music. But how I ended up in music, so I was at Nielsen for 12 years in the film space, and I was laid off. And in the music industry, over time, many of our friends have been laid off or not found that next gig, and it's painful and it's smart, but I managed to find my next opportunity. So Howard Applebaum was the publisher of Billboard for a period of time. He left that once it went off. He left that and came back to Nielsen. And when I reached out to him and said, here's who I am and what we do, he took a meeting with me. I had never met him before when I worked on the film side. And I said to him, here's what we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to, and it's like, who's we? You don't work at Nielsen. Oh, right. Well, you should do this, and And it turns out he's like, that was super authentic. Like, you actually believe all these things that you should do. Yes, I do, and we should do that. So it was like 3 weeks later, job offer and all that. So it was really, it was really kind of a rocky path to do ultimately the same thing I wanted to do when I was 6 years old. And since I'm in the chart business here, anyway, we'll have to skip this. Since I'm in the chart business, there are I charted the top 5 things that bring me my career joy. One is passion. You spent the first 4 speakers tonight talking to artists and producers and everybody on the creative side. I am just as passionate about what I do and what I deliver to the industry as they are. So it may be the nerdy side, as Tom wants to call it, but it's just as important and just as interesting. Mentors also play a big role in what I do, and I think some of those creatives just served as mentors to some of the songwriters and artists in this room. And my mentors have served everything for me, and not just what to do, but what not to do. And I won't name names, but there are plenty of mentors that I was like, that's exactly what I don't want to do. So anyway, there's lots of that goes on as well. And family, obviously, when I come home at night, your kids will tell you when you haven't left work at work. And they've really kind of shaped me into balancing and all of that. So, and competitors, whether they're my peers at work that make me better, stronger, push me forward, or true business competitors, those are also in my top 5. And I think there was one last one. Values, right, because integrity and service are very important to me and very relevant to the work that we do at Nielsen. It's sometimes there are very tough calls, even for the tippy top of the number 1 on the chart. And there's measurement of data and making sure retailers get their data in on time, or service providers, and that all the ISRC codes are legit and there wasn't a typo, and making sure that they're assigned to the right label and they're not going into the barrels of others in getting the market share right. All of these are super important to what we do, because business decisions in the industry, artists get paid based on our data. Our clients are publishers and performing rights organizations and the service providers, and definitely labels, and just all facets of the industry. Nielsen. So that's kind of me and who our clients are. But Nielsen itself has 2 big pieces of what they do: what people watch and listen to, the media consumption. I bet everybody in the room has heard of the TV ratings, and that's a big part of what Nielsen does. They also have another big part of the organization is what people buy. What they could buy, canned peas or diapers, we measure it all. So that's probably what big Nielsen is. But when we talk about Nielsen Music, I bet most of you in this room probably know SoundScan BDS. BDS being our radio measurement business, where we have digital ears across the country, across North America and Mexico, and kind of monitoring all the radio over the airwaves. And then we also have SoundScan, which is a legacy tool monitoring digital and physical sales. So that's kind of the root of us. We're like a 20-odd-year-old company, and those are our roots. I would be happy if everyone walked out of this room and never said BDS or SoundScan again, because Music Connect is the future of the industry. It's where we are today, and it's where we're going. So we have extended beyond the measurement of the sales data at a track level and an album level. And the airplay, we have the streaming data. We break it down by on-demand audio and video breaks, and we roll all that up into a total consumption number. So there is one relative number for total consumption now that is not just sales. It's not just airplay. It's not just streams. And these are what makes up the Billboard charts. And in fact, Billboard this week just announced that their genre charts are moving from a purely sales-based chart into this total consumption model. And so, and also Nielsen has the television appearances. So we are monitoring who's watching the artist appearance on television, right? It's not a streamlined world now where you set up an album on radio and you're done with it. There's brand partnerships, there's still radio, and it's a very important part. There's streaming playlists, and TV appearances. So we kind of measure all of those and try to help them to learn what was successful so that they can go back to the beginning and write the next song with the right artist and then set it up in the right way to make the most out of that ecosystem. In addition to the measurement side of the business, we have many brands that are coming to us looking for guidance in terms of fit for an artist partnership that they might want to do. It could be a label also coming to us and saying, I need to make a fact pitch to this brand because they're familiar with your data, the Nielsen brand, and I want to win this out over another artist that this brand might be considering. So we kind of play all sides, artists, management agencies, labels, as well as the brands, and we help them determine the best fit. I want to reach this audience as a brand, and this is the audience of this artist. So that's a match. And then on the back side of that, we measure the return for that brand. Again, we're advocates for the music industry. We want brand dollars to come in as much as consumer dollars and everybody. So we want to help the brand measure that so that they can turn around and apply that to the next activation that they do and really maximize their expenditure in the industry. In fact, we did this study with 7-Up, and they made an investment in the EDM space, and there was a 2-year investment, so we did some quarterly tracking for them. They're like, we want to reach EDM fans, and we want to reach Hispanics. And they did this activation. After the first quarter, they came to us, and we looked at our home scan panel and looked at the sales lift for 7-Up. And what we found was the whole lemon lime soda category, sales went up. So Sprite and 7-Up went up equally. That's not an effective promotion or effective use of 7-Up's dollars. They're helping their competitors as much as they're helping them. So we measure all that and help them like craft the story, refine that pitch, and then they went to market with a commercial that prominently featured the red dot of 7-Up, and it kind of like reshaped it, and they started to hit their audience, and they started to benefit from their engagement. So that's kind of the surface, what we provide. Let's see if my funny slide is actually formatted correctly on this thing. Otherwise, it's going to be a very boring end to this. Okay, so this is not a case study of Justin Bieber, but this is trying an illustration, actually, of what Nielsen does, because we help you see the big picture. Anyway, thank you very much.